Hello, Facebook. How you doing today? This is Robert Jenkins again. I want to talk about some things that God has laid on my heart. Matter of fact, it's been on my heart for about 2 or 3 days now, maybe longer. And I'm just taking out the time to go ahead and talk about it. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, a very common scripture. Most of us know it. I know we've heard about it. It is called the love chapter. I want to teach on some things, so we're just going to walk through it and go as long as God tells us to go, and hope that you be blessed by it. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 talks about the gifts of God, and 1 Corinthians chapter 14 talks about the gifts again. Chapter 13 is what we call the love chapter, and I think there's a very important reason why love is in the middle. It doesn't matter how gifted you are. If you don't have love as the center of everything you do, then your gifts could be out of order or be used in an abusive way. So it's very key that in the middle of all your gifts, make sure love is the center, okay? Very key thing. So I'm talking about love today, and let's walk through that. Now, it talks about, it says, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I am become as a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. Listen to the wording. Though I speak with the tongues of men, first tongues, and of angels, that's angelical tongues, and have not charity. Now we're going to take our time and teach. It doesn't use the word love there, it uses the word charity. It is very important that we understand this, and let me take my time and give some real good teaching principles today. Love is designed to be expressed. It's not to have it without expressing it. Which means like this. The Bible says, have love one to another, not one for another. Have love one to another. That word to really means to go past how you feel, past your opinions, past the offense, past what you know what they're saying about you, past your own struggles, and make sure you get that love to them. I could buy you a wonderful gift for your birthday, outstanding gift. Spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a gift. But if I never get that gift to you, I have it for you, but it never became in your possessions because I never got it to you. It's very important that we got to stop saying we have love for a person and don't have love one to another. It's very important that you make sure that that love is expressed. So I said all that to say that the Bible talks about the word charity, because charity is what you give. So it says in this particular give. I went off for a minute and I'm glad it's back. So it's charity. So now he says this, though I speak with the tongues of men, I understand language. I can speak and man understand me in that language. Though I have the tongues of angels, I have a very spiritual language, angelical language. It keeps going off. I'm glad. I don't know if it's my internet service, but sorry about that. But if I don't have love, if I don't have charity, I am become as a sounding brass or a tingling cymbal. Now, me being a drummer, I understand that. A sounding brass it's a brass cymbal. If you hit it hard, it come in and it makes a lot of noise, but eventually it goes away. A tinkling cymbal is something that's irritating. It's you just tinkling on the cymbals. So in other words, you can make a lot of noise or you can make hardly no noise. But if you don't have love, it doesn't go anywhere. So what, you can speak to people. So what, you can know all these languages. So what, you can reach people. If you can't reach them with the language you have of men and have not love, if you have angelical language, and even though you can speak languages with angels and minister at that level, if you have not charity, you become something that is loud, but you don't go anywhere. Now, why is that so key? And it starts out with that. I want you to understand that because really that's heavy. In my life, one of the things that I struggled with the most was people expressing love to me. Very key thing. Now, I'm going to be transparent. I want you to hear this. I didn't want love that was for me, but never came to me. I talk a lot about, and I probably always talk about a lot about my dad. My dad had great love for me, but he didn't have love to me. He didn't get it to me. And even though my dad was a very elegant man, even though my dad had a language which he could reach me, he didn't know how to love me even in his language. There are some people who are very spiritual, and my God, you can talk in tongues. My God, you have a spiritual level when it comes to the language, but your love language is terrible. You don't know how to express it. You don't know how to give it. So what did you supernatural in church or you understand that language? There's nothing against that language. God wants us to know how to speak in an unknown language or in a spiritual language. But when you done speaking in tongues, if you can't speak to me, it profits you nothing. You sound wonderful in church, but after church, I had a problem because you couldn't even speak to me. You couldn't shake my hand. You didn't have any hug because you don't know how to have charity. I'm not going to disqualify you and say you don't have love for me. No, but that ain't what the Bible tells us to do. The Bible don't tell us to have love for one another. It says have love one to another. If you don't have charity, you become a sounding brass. And the church is suffering something very great right now because we can speak these great angelical languages. We can be very educated people, but we lack in the love language. We don't have charity and we become nothing but a sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal. And God tells us don't do that. Then he moves on to say, and though I have the gift of prophecy, you can prophesy. I mean, you get a word straight from the Lord. You can hear the word from the Lord. It's good to have the gift of prophecy, but if you don't have love, you've become nothing. He says, so though I have the gift of prophecy, I understand all mysteries. Now, Paul, he speaks a lot in the all exclusive, and I struggle with that, but that's the way God give it to him. He says, if I have all mysteries, if I understand all mysteries, now you know how heavy that is. Every mystery that there is in the world, he says, if you had the ability to solve all mysteries, if you had the ability to be able to speak prophecies, if you had all knowledge, there's not nothing in the world you don't know. Every mathematical equation, every scientific equation, anything that has to do with biology, psychology, or any ologies, you have all knowledge. Now listen to the weight. If you have all mysteries, if you have all knowledge, if you have the gift of prophecy, if though you had all faith, not some faith, not great faith, not much faith, all faith, if you have all faith so that you can remove mountains and have not love that is given away, have not charity, expressive love, it do not, I am nothing. Paul is saying, now we can stop and we can pause. Is it possible to have all faith? Is it possible to really understand all mysteries? Is it possible to be able to have this great gift of prophecy? Yes, it is. But why try to achieve trying to have all mysteries, to solve all mysteries, to have all knowledge, to move all these mountains because you have all faith, but still you lack this one important thing. You don't know how to express love. You are become nothing. I think that we are racing or chasing the wrong thing. We want to be so intelligent. We want to know all the scriptures. We want to be able to claim we got all this faith and move all the mountains. We want to have so much knowledge. Everybody wants to prophesy now. But who wants to master knowing how to love charity in the right way, to express it? He says, so what, you have this. Yes, you can have all the tongues of men, the tongues of angels. You can prophesy. You can speak in tongues. You can remove all mountains. You got all faith. You can solve all mysteries. You have all knowledge. You are the computer yourself, but you lack the most important thing. You don't know how to have charity. Not love for me, love to me. You don't know how to give and express God's love. You have become nothing. Then he moves on and says this. Now we're going to teach. He says, charity suffers long. Love suffers long. Now, let me teach you something, a couple principles. God is about to describe here in 1 Corinthians about the function of love. Hear me when I hear this. The function, like there's a function of fire. The function of fire is to burn. That's the function of fire. It's to burn. So if you put a skillet on the stove, you put a steak in it, it'll burn it and cook it. Oh, wonderful. If you want to cook something else on the grill, you put it on the grill, you up the fire, it's going to burn it. Wonderful. But that same fire, if he get in the house with 12 kids and all of them are under the age of 2, he'll burn them all up. Why? Because the same function that he has to cook the steak on the grill or the hamburger on the skillet is the same function he has when he's loosed in the house. So he's going to burn the house, and you can't blame the fire and say, fire, why did you kill all 12 of them kids? The fire going to tell you, I didn't kill the kids. I was doing what I'm called to do. My job is, my function is to burn. I am fire. Same thing with water. If you jump in the water and you know how to swim, it's a wonderful thing. You drink some water, it's a wonderful thing. But if you don't know how to swim and you jump in the lake, you'll drown. And can you blame the water for drowning you? The water going to say, I was doing what I'm doing. I'm water. Well, that's the same thing with love. So hear this, if you didn't hear nothing else. You must understand the function of love. That's why love is supposed to be given with God, all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. Because most of us, you're not equipped to handle the function of love. If you find yourself loving the wrong thing and the wrong person, you're not going to like its function, because it's going to function just like you don't like fire when it burnt the house down, or you don't like water when people drowned in it because they didn't know how to swim. You're not going to like love when you hooked up with the wrong person and you can't get out, because love going to say, this is my function. The first thing love is going to tell you, it's going to say, I'm sorry he hit you upside the head. I'm sorry that he left you. But guess what? Love, this is what I do. I suffer long. Did you hear that? So there's so many people that are in relationships that they had no business being in, because they didn't ask God what to do with the love that God has for you. But you turn around and try to use God's love, his principles, on the wrong person in the wrong situation. And now you finding out love wants to suffer long. You getting beat up, you getting knocked up, you being abused. But love says that's what we do. We suffer long. Love suffers long. How long do you suffer? I don't know how long I'm suffering, but love suffers long. And this is why a lot of people are in situations and they look crazy. And you say he's a fool or she's a fool. Why she keep going back to him? Why she keep dealing with it over and over again? It's not her going back. It's not him going back. It's love going back. Love says, you better know what my function is. I suffer long. Love suffers long. Not only do it suffer long, love is kind, which means love may look like it allows you to abuse it, because it don't fight back. It suffers and it's kind. It's a gentleman at all times. It'll take a lot of things. It allow people to spit on it. It allow people to talk about it, because love suffers and love is kind. Are you sure you ready to deal with the function of love? That's why we need to love God with all our heart, with all our soul, with all our mind. Because when you start loving man this way, you may not want to be kind sometimes. Sometimes you want to be angry. You want to be mean. But love says that's not what we do. We suffer long and we are kind. Now, it seems like those are extremities. You went from suffering long to being kind. What happens when love is kind in suffering? That's love. Love suffers long and it's kind. Guess what else? It envies not itself. It means it's not self-motivated. It does love because that's what love does. Did you hear that? Most of the time, we're not in love. We're making deals. You do this, I do that. We stay together. Love says, I don't make deals. I'm love. I can love you when you are at your worst, just like I can love you when you are at your best, because it's not about me. It's about me being loved. Like the sun shines. The function of the sun is to shine. So whether somebody's being raped underneath the tree or somebody's laying in the grass and enjoying the shade, the sun says, I'm shining. Somebody may be being raped, somebody else enjoying it, but I'm being the sun. I am shining. Love says, this is what I do. I suffer long. I'm kind. Envy not myself. It's not about me. I am not puffed up. It doesn't motivate its own self by in other words, it's not selfish. Love says, I love you. That's why. Now let's flip the script. In the positive sense, when love is with the right person, this is a great expression, because there's some people who need love to suffer along with them. They're not going to get it the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. They're going to need long suffering. Love can suffer along with them. So for somebody who's going through, maybe struggling with drugs, maybe struggling with alcohol, strongholds, whatever the case may be, love says, if you put me in the right place at the right time, I can deal with you. You messed up 5 times, 6 times. Ask Peter how many times he messed up, but love suffered along with him. Apostle Paul was a killer of Christians, but love suffered along with him. We were sinners when God saved us, but God's love suffered along with us. But if you don't know how to use it the way God called to do it, now you want to get out of some stuff, and love says, no, we suffer long. We kind. We're not puffed up in ourselves. And then it says this, does not behave itself unseemly. Now, what do you do with an emotion that does not respond? I'm not going to act crazy. I'm going to keep loving you and keep loving you and keep loving you and keep loving you. Yes, you did something wrong, but keep loving you, because I don't behave unseemly. You're not going to get me to react, because I'm love. I can only be who I am. I am love. Very key, the function of love. It says, rejoice not in iniquities, but it rejoice in truth. Does not seek its own. Now that's the function of love. Most folks don't like the function of love. If you ever had a stronghold, you thank God for the function of love. If you're the one who need it. But if you're on the opposite end, oh my God, you want to get out. And this is why a lot of people are going through, because love is doing what it do. It's functioning. Now watch this. It goes on to say this. It beareth all things. Are you ready?